Most Super Bowler attacks struggle against one defense more than any other, the lava launcher. But what if I told you there's a way to completely neutralize it without using an overgrowth spell? Today we're going to break down two professional attacks that use a simple trick most players don't even know exists. More importantly, you'll learn when this trick works, why it works, and how to recognize the bases where it can completely change the outcome of your attack. Let's get into it. We're going to break down two high-level Super Bowler attacks. The first one was executed by Bernal and the second by P. Castro. Both are professional players for Psycho Esports. We'll analyze not only their execution, but also the decision-making behind each attack and the small details that make these hits so consistent. So let's start by analyzing the base. The strategy Bernal chose is a Queen Walk Super Bowler attack, using Raven on the Queen together with the Monolith Arrow. The Queen Walk will be responsible for setting up the entire entry, and Raven provides great support because it helps the Queen clear collectors and storages much faster. As a result, the Queen reaches the defenses sooner instead of wasting time on trash buildings. Now let's look at some key aspects of this base. The first thing is the Clan Castle. With Super Bowlers, neutralizing the Clan Castle is extremely valuable, whether you do it during the Queen Walk or immediately after your Super Bowlers enter. As I explained in my previous Super Bowler video, you want to eliminate the ice golems from the Clan Castle before activating the Heroic Torch. Because of that, if you're dealing with the Clan Castle during your Super Bowler entry, you have to be very careful about entering through areas with heavy damage. So you basically have two options. Since this Clan Castle is positioned fairly close to the core, pulling it with the Queen Walk is much harder. The Queen would have to go much deeper into the base and would become vulnerable to multiple high-damage defenses. Another interesting feature of this layout is that both the Logger and the Lava Launcher are positioned off-center. It's most likely intended to defend against one of the most common Queen Walk entries players usually use on this type of base. Normally, players would Queen Walk through the Logger side of the base and then enter from a position like the Monolith or the Multi-Gear Tower. The Lava Launcher is specifically protecting against those entries. Bernal takes a completely different approach. Instead of walking through the middle, he starts the Queen Walk from the top side of the base, avoiding both the Lava Launcher and the Clan Castle altogether. His plan is to deal with the Clan Castle only after the Super Bowlers enter. Now let's break down this attack because Bernal uses two very clever tricks that you can apply in certain Super Bowler attacks. Notice that, from this position, the funnel isn't ideal yet, because the defensive ring is still intact. There are defenses above the Queen and defenses below her. If the Queen walks upward, she'll take side damage from the lower defenses. If she walks downward, she'll take side damage from the upper defenses. Normally, entering the Monolith side would probably be the safer option because having the Monolith doing side damage is much more dangerous than taking damage from the upper defenses. But Bernal solves this problem with a really interesting trick that you can sometimes use to create a funnel for your Queen Walk. He uses a battle blimp. This is an excellent blimp placement. Inside the blimp, he has Yetis, and he also drops a rage spell. So what exactly does this blimp accomplish? First, it creates the funnel. At the same time, it removes the side damage coming from the lower section of the base. As a result, once the Queen moves upward, those defenses are already gone. One important thing to remember is that this is a fairly expensive investment. You're committing an entire siege machine and a rage spell, but the value is enormous. First, it removes an enemy hero. Second, it eliminates the poison tower. Third, it takes down one of the most important defenses in the base, the Monolith. So the value is incredible. On top of that, this blimp creates a double funnel. It forces the Queen to move upward for the Queen Walk, while also creating the path for the Super Bowlers to enter from the lower side later. So this blimp generates both defensive value and pathing value at the same time. It's an expensive investment, so it has to deliver maximum value. Now look how much easier the Queen's job becomes. Without that lower side damage, and with the funnel already created, her pathing becomes very clean. She moves upward and takes out the minion prince with no problems. Bernal decides not to break deeper into the base to reach the Revenge Tower. Instead, he keeps the Queen Walk simple, focusing only on the funnel, and that's because the Revenge Tower is already lined up with the core defenses. Once the Heroic Torch is activated during the Super Bowler push, the bowlers will naturally destroy that tower anyway. It's not isolated. It's not sitting on an island compartment. So spending extra resources to remove it with the queen simply isn't necessary. He pulls the queen back and still keeps plenty of spells available for the core. Now let's look at the Super Bowler entry. Notice that the clan castle gets activated here. It's extremely important that he doesn't activate either the Eternal Tome or the Heroic Torch while dealing with the clan castle. The ice golems need to be eliminated first. That means he has to reduce the amount of incoming damage while his bowlers are fighting the clan castle. Otherwise, they can die very quickly. At this point, they're being pressured by the lava launcher, the logger, and several other defenses. One common solution is using an overgrowth spell on the lava launcher. You temporarily disable it, deal with the clan castle, and only then activate the heroic torch. But this base offers another possibility. Bernal uses a very clever trick that you may occasionally be able to copy. He tanks the lava launcher with a totem spell. Normally, this isn't possible. The lava launcher has two different attack ranges. There's an inner range where it doesn't target troops at all, and an outer range where it does. Since the totem works by stunning a defense and forcing it to retarget, it can't tank the lava launcher because of that dead zone. However, Bernal takes advantage of the lava launcher's extremely long range. He places the totem farther outside, right inside the launcher's targeting range. As a result, the totem tanks only the lava launcher. None of the other defenses are targeting it, so he completely neutralizes the most dangerous defense in this area. That's exactly why he doesn't need an overgrowth spell in this attack. The totem alone removes most of the incoming damage. It's a perfect use of the spell. Now the Super Bowlers move into the base. He opens two walls with a second wall break targeting a more central compartment. Then another perfectly placed totem tanks the logger. A few seconds later, the king comes in from the side. Notice the timing. The Expo is already targeting the totem that is tanking the logger, so Bernal uses that opportunity to send the king to do the side funnel. Since one important defense is already distracted by the totem, the king takes much less damage during his entry. Everything is perfectly synchronized. The main army enters first and starts tanking the core. At exactly the same time, the side troops begin their job. Why can he delay the side funnel like this? Because this section of the base doesn't have any buildings. The Super Bowlers naturally path into the core without needing immediate side funneling. You only create the side funnel early when it's actually necessary. If the bowlers already have clean pathing, it's much better to wait until the core troops start tanking part of the damage before deploying your side troops. This way you split the damage between the core and the sides, like I already explained in another video. Here, the ice golems are eliminated. He also sends the Duke to support the king on the outside. Now that the ice golems are gone and the incoming damage has been controlled, he can finally activate the heroic torch. This gives him maximum value. He drops the rage spell, activates the torch, and the Super Bowlers completely destroy the core. He even freezes the revenge tower to make the push even smoother. Meanwhile, the king and the Duke finish clearing the entire right side of the base. At this point, the attack is basically over. He still has the Duke's ability available for cleanup. Overall, this was an incredibly well-executed Super Bowler attack. The battle blimp created the initial funnel while also removing key defenses. Then the totem spell completely neutralized the lava launcher while he dealt with the clan castle. Now let's move on to our second base. This attack was performed by P. Castro. This base has double rage spell towers, and once again, the clan castle is positioned in the center. However, this layout is a little different because the lava launcher is much more centralized. A centralized lava launcher has both advantages and disadvantages. When it's positioned this deep in the base, it gives you much more flexibility for your queen walk entry. You can start from the top, the bottom, or either side, because the lava launcher takes longer to engage the queen. So instead of protecting one specific entry, it's trying to protect the entire base. The downside is that it leaves more room for queen walks around the outside. By the time the lava launcher starts firing, the queen has often already accomplished what she needed to do and can be pulled back. So compared to the previous base, this layout offers a lot more flexibility for the queen walk. Once again, the priorities remain exactly the same. He's using queen walk Super Bowlers, so neutralizing the clan castle is extremely important. At the same time, he wants to create good pathing for the Super Bowlers while removing the highest value defenses. That means paying close attention to defenses with massive damage output, such as the logger, the revenge tower, the monolith, and of course, the lava launcher. You also need to be careful around high damage sections of the base, especially areas protected by rage spell towers. In this attack, P. Castro will do tricks that players who have been using Queen Walk since the early days will immediately recognize. Take a look. First, he chooses a section where the layout naturally creates excellent queen pathing because of these empty sides. These empty spaces exist mainly to defend against combinations like Giant Arrow plus Rocket Backpack, but they also help the attacker in other variations. Since there aren't buildings here, he already knows exactly where the queen is going to walk without funneling, so he starts the queen walk from the top. Notice that he deliberately doesn't funnel the left side. Why? Because there's one important concern here. The monolith. The queen doesn't have enough range to hit the monolith from her current position. Whenever you're planning a queen walk, you need to know exactly what the queen can and cannot reach. In this case, she can't reach the monolith. That means he has to wall break so she can step into that compartment and take that defense. So what does he do? He actually leaves the buildings on the left untouched. Notice that he doesn't funnel the mortar or the left side buildings. That's intentional. He wants the queen to walk as far left as possible, staying completely outside the monolith's range. Only after that does he create the funnel near the laboratory. And then after she finishes clearing that side, does he wall break and redirect her toward the monolith. If he had opened the wall earlier, the queen could have gone straight toward the monolith before clearing the left side, and that would create a problem. She wouldn't remove the expo first. As a result, the expo would keep dealing side damage while she was fighting both the monolith and the clan castle. Instead, he uses the layout itself to manipulate the queen's path. She clears the left side first. She removes the expo. Only then does he wall break and send her toward the monolith. The queen clears the dragon duke, destroys the gold storage, and now she has nothing else within range. She's automatically forced toward the monolith. This is a classic queen walk technique. You first force the queen away from the dangerous defenses, remove the damage one piece at a time, and only then redirect her into the compartment you actually want. Even though it looks like she's walking into the middle of several defenses, that's not really what's happening. The way he controls her path makes those defenses behave almost like they're lined up one after another. He's eliminating the damage step by step instead of taking everything at once. That's exactly why the queen clears this entire section so comfortably. That's why the timing of the wall break is so important. If you wall break too early, the queen enters too early. Instead, he waits until she finishes the first section, removes the side damage, and only then redirects her. Now the clan castle comes out here. Since he's planning to eliminate it during the queen walk, he uses a double poison setup. This trick is incredibly strong because there's always the possibility of facing something like furnace troops together with headhunters. Instead of stacking both poison spells on top of each other, he places them in a line. That's extremely important. Poison spells don't stack their damage efficiently when they're placed directly on top of each other. But if the defending troops have to walk through both poison areas, they take damage for a much longer period of time before reaching the queen. With the rage spell, the queen easily finishes the logger, eliminates the clan castle, takes down another defending hero, and still destroys the monolith. A beautifully executed queen walk. He created an enormous funnel at the top of the base while completely removing the clan castle. Now it's time for the Super Bowler entry. He decides to enter from the ricochet cannon. This gives him much cleaner pathing than entering from the fire spitter side. If he entered from the fire spitter, the multi-gear tower would still be standing. Since the Super Bowlers wouldn't have range to hit it, he'd probably be forced to activate abilities much earlier than he wants. The pathing simply isn't as clean. Entering from the left creates a straight line directly through the core. There's no side damage from the upper defenses because the queen already removed everything. At this point, an experienced Super Bowler player already knows this attack is basically over. He knows it's going to be a triple. Why? Because every major threat has already been neutralized. The clan castle is gone, the logger is gone, the monolith is gone. He even removed 2 defending heroes during the queen walk. Unless he makes a major mistake from here, this attack should finish with a very comfortable triple. The only thing left to respect is the lava launcher. So once again, he uses the same trick Bernal showed earlier. He places the totem as far away as possible while still pulling the lava launcher onto it before beginning the main push. This version isn't quite as effective because the lava launcher is more centralized. At least one other defense is able to target the totem as well, but it still temporarily neutralizes the lava launcher while the push gets established. He starts with the Duke on the left side. The reason is the Hero Hall. The Hero Hall has a huge amount of hit points. If the Super Bowlers entered first, there would be a chance the Duke wouldn't finish clearing the side buildings in time. That could allow the Super Bowlers to drift toward the left. And as I've said before, the only way to lose this attack now would be through a major funneling mistake. As long as the Super Bowlers stay in the core, the rest of the attack is straightforward. The Totem keeps the lava launcher busy. He also deploys the air wagon to provide additional support through the middle. Notice that the King hasn't been deployed yet. Only the Duke is creating the initial funnel. The King comes in slightly later from the lower side. If he had deployed the King immediately, the pathing would have been much less predictable. A hidden Tesla or another building could easily pull him upward. Instead, the Duke secures the funnel first. Only then does the King enter. And notice how long he delays the heroic torch. As long as the Super Bowlers aren't in danger of dying and they don't need to jump another wall yet, there's no reason to activate it early. He waits for maximum value. Only now does he activate the heroic torch. The Super Bowlers immediately tear through almost the entire base. Only near the very last wall, where the jump effect actually becomes necessary, does the ability reach its full value. He still has both the Queen's ability and the King's ability available. The cleanup is extremely comfortable. He even saves the King's ability until the very end. Ideally, you want the final buildings to be finished by the King's spiky ball. That's exactly what happens here. Another beautifully executed Super Bowler attack, and once again, everything starts with the Queen walk. So now you've seen two different approaches. The first uses a battle blimp to create the initial funnel while removing key defenses. The second relies entirely on understanding Queen pathing to guide her into the perfect position while avoiding side damage. Two excellent examples of high-level Queen Walk Super Bowler attacks. That wraps up today's video. Hopefully you picked up something new that you can start using in your own attacks. If this video helped you improve, taught you something new, or even helped you get a few more triples, and you'd like to support the channel, the best way to do that is by using creator code Bernal in the Supercell store. It doesn't cost you anything extra, and it really helps support the content I create. And if you enjoyed this kind of in-depth strategy breakdown, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.